Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Smiling. Well, yeah, as I can see on your smiling face, I guess it's high time to start, yeah, our meetup. Thanks for coming and being part of our big meetup for today. I'm really happy to see all the faces here tonight. My name is Nadina. I'm a business and system analyst and Andersen IT community expert. And today, I'll be with you as a moderator during the whole event. Well, the meetup was born out of a casual conversation over a cup of coffee with our long-standing partner, IREB, International Network of Professional Requirements Engineers and Digital Designers. And now, a few words about the community and why I'm speaking. You can scan this beautiful, exciting, engaging QR code. And now I'll describe why. Well, Andersen IT community is already a big community where IT professionals come all together to exchange knowledge, grow, and find inspiration. At tech talks, webinars, workshops, conferences, and such meetups, we connect all together with like-minded people, discuss the latest trends in IT, and build business relationships that contribute to professional growth. Our event takes place worldwide already in Poland, Belarus, Lithuania, Ukraine, Azerbaijan, and we plan to expand our new regions, including USA, Canada, and so on. Well, scanning this QR code, you can view announcements for upcoming events, meetups, and watch the recordings of previous ones. Also, you can apply to become a speaker on our website. Well, maybe somebody of you has already thought to become a speaker somewhere in the future. Guys, come on. Not already? Okay, maybe you think. And we have an exciting program ahead during our meetup. Well, analysts, and not only analysts, as I can see, could you tell me who among you actively use modeling when working with requirements? Okay. Let me ask. Okay, you, for example, tell me please, what is your name? Igor. Igor, could you tell me what artifact like diagram do you use and create more often?
Flow diagram. And still relationship diagram.
Great. Thank you so much. And again, then let's discuss with our speakers what is the secret to turning complex requirements into clear, actionable solutions. Now, let me introduce our speakers and guests for today. To begin with, we will hear a few words from Malgorzata Trzaska, a representative of IREB community, who will briefly introduce the community and its mission. After that, Radosław Grębski will give us a talk why to model requirements, exploring why requirement modeling is essential for successful IT projects. Then we will continue with Emil Abazov, the IT business analyst from Andersen, who will present turning requirements into action, why modeling in practice helps us, and share real-life examples of how to apply modeling techniques effectively. Each talk, we have a presentation part, and in the end, we, with Natalia Taraskevich, also the business analyst from Andersen, will provide you some games, interactive games, yeah? And for people who have joined us online, hello guys, nice to see you here. For some reasons you can't be here offline, but we are happy that you have joined us. So feel free, please, to ask questions in the chat. We will pick them up all and discuss during the Q&A session. And of course, our dear audience, please feel free to ask questions. We will discuss all of them during the QA session or on the networking part. Before we get started, just a few points left. We are now live, and the session is being recorded. So after the session, the available meetup recording will be on our site and in your emails as well. After the talks, we will have a short pause just to switch off and relax. And at the end of the evening, we will move to the networking area where we can relax, grab some drinks, and just more informal conversation. Hello to you, one more. So let's get acquainted. Now I'd like to give the floor to our guest, Malgosia Chaska from the IREB community.
Hello. Can I have my notes? Can I have this?
Here it is, for sure.
Okay. How does it work? Okay. Hello. Hi, everyone. Let me start maybe as a bit surprise in a different language. Привет, я слышала, что многие здесь говорят по-русски. Я тоже изучала русский. Я говорю только чуть-чуть, мой русский очень плохой, и мне нужна практика, но мы можем попробовать позже. Если у вас хватает терпения. Okay,
we will wait.
That's
for
all
sure.
that I have. Yes, but of course my English is much better, so let's switch to English. But indeed, I have heard some Russian here, so I really did learn it a bit. So I wanted to brag about it. Okay, so my name is Małgorzata Trzaska, and I work as a business analyst. As a senior business analyst in another project, I'm called a process analyst, also business systems analyst, so you name it. Also, I conduct some workshops related to business analysis, and also for the last few years, I have served as a mentor in the Women in Technology initiative. It's a great initiative supporting especially women who want to join IT, but not only women. When it's about something more private, I already shared my love for languages, and I also love tea, especially green tea, and I'm a real bookworm, so I really love reading books. And also, I am a co-author of a blog on requirements engineering created by Radek, who will speak later. So we also cooperate from time to time. So now you know my professional side, but I have not always been a business analyst. I used to have a life, right? So many years ago, I was working as a translator, as a teacher also. It was at the time when I thought that stakeholder is some kind of a fancy barbecue equipment. But now I know it's, of course, just a joke. And I can say that one day, or maybe not one day, but because it was a process, but when I discovered the requirements engineering, I have never been the same since, right? So this is what I'm going to tell you about a little bit today. So to sum it up, I can say that my career as a business analyst has, in a sense, come full circle, because I used to be a translator. And now I can say it continues. Just the difference is that I don't translate from German to English anymore, but rather from business to developer. So I am famously bridging the gap between the two parts. So very briefly, how it all started, because I haven't always been a business analyst, so I won't tell you my whole life here, but just very briefly, I was first working on this business side, and on one hand, the knowledge of some languages, also the curiosity brought me to the other side. So I became a business analyst first, so unofficially, I was just learning on the job. Then I tried to make it more formal and also complete the gaps in my knowledge. And it continues to this day, because I really love reading, learning. So I keep passing exams, right? Conducting workshops, also learning myself. But I told you that there was a point where I discovered requirements engineering, and that was the moment where I discovered IREB. So, as mentioned, I was learning on the job. I was learning in practical examples. but I must say my first requirements meetings were pretty chaotic, right? So as a real bookworm, as a person who wants to understand and master everything, I thought that there must be actually a science to, I wanted to say silence, but I mean a science to this. And I started to research, I started to look for some good courses, workshops, communities, and that's when I discovered IREB, right? So it was a great decision. It's really opened my eyes, and it really helped me complete some gaps that I still had in my knowledge regarding requirements engineering. So maybe a few words why I chose IREB, because I told you my first experiences were pretty chaotic, practical. I mean, it's a great way of learning, but also very stressful. So I just needed some more structure in my professional life. I needed a framework, not just an intuition. And IREB offered me that. So as Nadina already said, IREB is a community, is a non-profit organization that brings together the community of professionals, experienced professionals from the field of requirements engineering from different countries. They develop standards which are recognized in different countries, in different companies. And as IREB itself comes from Germany, it's really useful to brag about it when you work for German companies, which is exactly my case, right? So I didn't even realize it, but it turned out that it's really a valued standard. So I definitely made the right decision by passing this certificate. So it was a really good framework that helped me fill some gaps that I had. Then also, I love the way it's structured. So it's really brought a lot of clarity and structure. I already mentioned that. And I would say it really made me feel a little bit more secure as a business analyst, right? Because suddenly I realized that the problems I'm dealing with are not really like the first problems that people have to deal with in the universe. People have had these experiences before, so it really gave me a lot of. It was a great help. And also, while I was analyzing the practical examples, practical exercises during this course, and which then let me pass the exam, I realized that actually requirements engineering is everywhere. Even if you plan family vacations, you sort of deal with requirements engineering, right? So you can try it with your family, the stakeholders interviews, right? I can say that I was trying a little bit with my husband, with my kids, right? But, you know, from my husband, I heard that you should listen more to your users, for example, right? So you can practice it in the family also. Okay, but to be serious, there are some really simple but also brilliant concepts that are summed up in the IREB syllabus. So let me just name a few of them. For example, I think it's really important to distinguish between the notion of needs and solutions. And before I learned it, I really didn't pay attention, which was wrong, and also caused a lot of problems in the project work. And now I know why this distinction is so important, right? So I hope you remember what is a need and what is a solution, right? So the need, it's problem or an opportunity that you need to address, that you must address, right? And a solution is a way to solve the problem or to achieve this goal. Another simple but very important truth that I realized thanks to IREB is that the why behind the project or behind the problem, behind the need is as important as the what, right? So it's not only about the software that you develop, but the crucial question is the underlying need behind it, right? So why you want this, why you need this. And also, my favorite part, modeling requirements, because I'm not an artist, but I love drawing the stick figures. And finally, I have a legit reason to do that at work, right? And they pay me for this. So it's really awesome, and it's great that IREB also mentions this kind of activity. So modeling requirements as a way of visualizing problems, because you know what they say: if you can draw something, if you can describe the picture, then probably you understand what you're talking about, right? Because it's not that easy to draw it in this way. Okay, how IREB helped me at work, because it really did help me, right? So when I passed the IREB Foundation exam, then I can say it really helped me put some things into place. For example, my requirements workshops, they really became less chaotic, and the chaos was replaced with more structured discussions. So it's really thanks to IREB when I realized that you can do it better, and there is actually science to that. Then I can say that also the notion of traceability was really a great one, because now in many projects where I deal with different things, different problems, I am able to understand where even the weirdest features come from. So it's really something. And also general, of course, you cannot exclude all the surprises, all the problems, but generally you have this, you have a really decreasing number of these surprise Fridays, right? So generally less face palming and unnecessary things that can be avoided, right? And of course, just to sum it up, you probably know the famous picture of how people don't understand each other. Mostly they hear one thing, and then different groups of people perceive it in a different way, right? So it's probably the picture that all of you have seen at some point. So I think that thanks to my meeting with IREB, my getting to know with this framework, I can reduce the number of these different pictures, right? A little bit. Okay, so what changed for me after passing the IREB Foundation exam? So definitely it meant a career boost. Of course, it's not enough to only have some certificate or some exam, but it definitely helps. And especially, as I told you before, I was doing something totally different, then gradually learning on the job. So holding this formal document in hand really helped me a lot. And I can say it really shows in my daily work, because I am just becoming a better and better business analyst. And also I can deal with more projects simultaneously. I can also deliver things faster. So it's really something. And also, as I already mentioned before, I usually work for in the German-speaking context for German companies. So they really appreciate it, right? So it was kind of a luck, because I didn't know that it's based in Germany, this organization, but it also helped. So so it was a nice coincidence. Then also reputation boost. It's also good if you get a lot of comments in LinkedIn, or so some recruiters asking, right? But the nicest part is when something happens in the project, and then I can hear things like, okay, ask Gosia, she's our requirements expert. So it really shows me that I made a lot of effort in learning things, and it proves right. It's the right direction. And also the whole toolkit for almost any unknown situation. Of course, we cannot always exclude the unknown, right? So there would always be surprises, risks, and problems, but you can really reduce the number of them by having some structure in your head, by knowing the techniques, by understanding the relations, right? And by having a lot of examples. So I guess it's that. Okay, thank you. That was a short presentation. Just to sum it up, I can just say that it's really a cool framework. So if you're thinking of switching from a different role to business analyst, it's a great thing to start, a great place to start, because the exam, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's not like impossible. And if you just spend some time on getting to know the things, then you will make it. And of course, last but not least, even if you know even the greatest frameworks like IREB, of course, the best business analyst is always the person who just is very friendly and whom people like to invite for coffee or for meetings, right? So IREB is cool, but it's, of course, not enough. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Malgorzata, for your story of IREB. As I know, the IREB's motto is competence, community, and certified. So I guess it perfectly described our collaboration and partnership, and I guess your story as well, right?
So I hope to find some inspiration. Right?
Thank you so much. And now let me introduce Radosław Grębski, also representative of IREB community, and let's discuss why to model requirements. Let me help you.
I hope it will work. Okay, fine, thanks. Thank you. Can I get this pilot?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, hello everyone. So I'm Radosław Grębski, as already mentioned. A few words about me. I work as a business analyst. Currently, I'm lead business analyst in one of companies, well-known company, so SIA company. And sorry, something went wrong. Oh, I didn't click anything.
Yeah, let me help you.
You can search.
Yeah. Okay. Also, I work as a process analyst, and also I'm sorry, one slide before.
Let me do this.
And also part of my job is to provide business analysis training. Except of my job, I'm also, together with Gosia, work in IREB Polish community. I'm also an IREB ambassador for Poland. So thank you, Gosia, for advertising our organization and giving such a good introduction about this. A few words more about me. So I have, I think, about 15 years of experience in business analysis, system analysis, and product ownership as well. I worked in project of different sizes, in company of different sizes. So I started my career in a small, very small startup located in Wrocław Technology Park. Then I moved to working in bigger companies. Currently, I work usually for Polish units, let's say, of well-known international companies. Also, I'm a co-author of awarded book about requirements engineering. This book is of course based on IREB standard, and I am co-author of 4BA blog together with Małgorzata, with Gosia. We are creating content for this blog. So I think that's all about me, and let's talk a bit about requirements, and especially about modeling requirements. I think that I will not say anything new for most of you, but it's good to underline some topics about modeling requirements. And the first topic, which I think need to be underlined, is why basically we model requirements. It sounds to be obvious that it's needed. It's usually used in many projects, but why we do this? So I think the first reason why requirements are usually modeled is that we need somehow to simplify the reality which we analyze in different projects. I mean, by reality, I mean the domain, the industry, the company, the processes, and other things. Such a reality can be extremely complicated. And usually, to achieve the goal, we don't need to understand and to analyze all of the details. So that's why we need to create something on an appropriate level of abstraction. And this level of abstraction can be achieved by creating models. So depending on the goal, depending on the situation, depending on our need, we can create models on appropriate model of abstraction and not focus on details which are basically unneeded, which analyzing will take some effort, which will take some time, and which basically will not bring any benefit. So yeah, so modeling gives us this benefit that we can represent reality when, as I said, appropriate level of abstraction, appropriate level of details. That's first, of course, first thing. Okay, the second one. Models can condensate the information. So of course we have different way to represent the information. We can use textual description, we can use some diagrams, so models, we can use some tables, we can use prototypes, we have plenty of options. And using models, usually we can deliver the information in the manner which is concise and condensed, but still it's clear and it's very well accessible. So usually comparing the information delivered in the textual way and delivered in model, usually this information delivered by model with the assumption that this model is well prepared, is clear, it's let's say well defined according to the standards. Usually such model is more readable, it's more accessible. Basically we can take a very simple example. If you go to some, I don't know, metro station or some train station, you can imagine that there can be some very big wall of the text with the information where you are, on which station, where can you go, where can you change the line, whatever. It's doable. But for some reason, I think that nobody in the world is doing this in this way. Usually you have model there, yeah? So you have the simplified information, what are the lines, what are the stops, and where you can change the line to other one. And yeah, being in such station, you can just understand where you are, where do you want to go, and everything becomes a bit clearer. If this information would be provided in textual way, probably you would need to read it many times, you would need to understand it very well, and still many people will be not able just to find the proper way. Yeah, so that's why model can deliver information in a clear way, in condensed way, and for most people, usually it's easier to understand to look at the model and then get all all information. Okay, and modeling, of course, it's very good to deliver information, but it's also very good way to validate the information. So imagine that, for example, you have information from many different sources. Of course, you can have information from stakeholders. You can have information from different documents. You can have information from maybe some observation. So usually, you have a lot of sources of information, and this information which you get can be inconsistent, can be unclear, can be, let's say, not the best possible quality. So models can be used to first understand the information, to make the consistent way, and to find any omissions, any contradictions. So as you can see on the slide, I think the first person to benefit from creating a model is the creator, because when you create a model, you can find that, or you don't know how to create the model, so it clearly indicates that something is unclear, that some information need to be found, something need to be clarified, or you can also find that you just can't create a model because you have information which is contradict. So you have information that model should look in this way and also in the other way. Yeah. So at least in Polish we have such proverb that text will take everything. Yeah, it's maybe I just translate in the incorrect way, but the meaning is that basically you can put anything in the text and it will fit. In the model, it's not so easy, especially if you use some models with standard, with defined syntax. There are some strict rules, and you cannot model contradict information. So if you cannot create a model, you can find a lot of omissions, a lot of contradictions. So that's the big benefit. Yeah. So to sum up the slide, I think the modeling is a very good way to just validate the information which you get from different sources, and to check if there are any omissions, any contradictions, or maybe you can find any simplifications, for example, in the process flow. Okay, and then modeling also can create such benefit that you gain a common understanding. Common understanding is one of the key most important keyword in IREB syllabus. So there is even a lot of there is a small I would say unit in the syllabus which is just about gaining the common understanding, and common understanding is very important because until you gain the common understanding, you are not able just to deliver the solution. You are not able to achieve the goal. Yeah. So gaining this common understanding with stakeholders is usually not a very trivial situation. So one of the ways how you can gain this common understanding is just to commonly create a model. So if you are creating a model, it provokes a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions, a lot of discussions, and you can share a lot of information. So that's the benefit. Yeah. So modeling is beneficial because there are a lot of questions, a lot of information can be provided, and also after the model is created, people, so stakeholders, can or confirm that everything is clear and then they understand some topic like some reality, some structure, some process in the same way, or they can give the comments. So they can clearly indicate that, for example, in this part of the process or in this part, they have some different opinion, so you can easily find different opinions, different options. And by finding and clarifying such things, you can finally achieve the version for which usually everybody can agree, and by this you can guarantee that you achieve the common understanding. So usually modeling together with stakeholders, it's not a straightforward. Usually you create a lot of different models, there is a lot of discussions, a lot of changes, but finally you create something which can be or confirmed or corrected, and by this you can achieve the common understanding and confirm that you have it. Sometimes workshops are really challenging because stakeholders are talking a lot, usually. Maybe not usually, but it happens. Sometimes they are quite silent, so that's even the worst option. But sometimes there is a lot of discussions, and you end the workshop with the feeling that, okay, we discussed something, there is a lot of information, but there is not a clear outcome. We don't know if we have the common understanding. We don't know if everything what we want to achieve is already achieved. By creating a model, you can achieve it. You can achieve this goal, I think, in more smooth manner. Okay, and models, of course, are a really great tool to create documentation. I think that's, of course, the most obvious benefit of the models, but let's also think and talk about this. Because models have some advantages. Model usually can be concise, accessible, readable, clear, and easy of editing. So if you want to have a documentation which is ready for long-term use, which you can use to, for example, introduce some topic to somebody, which you can use to onboard somebody, or which you can use to check some logic after longer time, like months or even years, I think the models, it's much better than textual description. On model, you can find some information in a really quick manner, in a really easy manner. So I think that's much easier than looking, for example, in textual description, or in the worst case, going through the list of, for example, user stories implemented in a long time. So when I'm responsible for documenting some system, I usually base on models, because I think that using model, I can include a lot of information in quite short content. It means that I'm already out of time, or not? Somebody just came. Okay. Yeah. So and also it's easier to keep this information consistent. So, for example, if you have textual description and you modify it many times, and usually it happens that you modify information documentation a few times. So, if it's in textual description, it's easier to make it to make it not consistent. But in models, I think it's much easier to keep it consistent. So that's why I think models are much better for documentation, which need to be used in the long time, which need to be used to have knowledge, to keep knowledge in the organization for a longer time. Okay, and this is very important that models have lower cognitive load. So cognitive load is nothing else than the amount of information that you need to understand and somehow process in your mind to achieve some goal. So as I said previously, models usually have lower cognitive load, and this is proven by this example with some map. Usually, it's easier to find the way on the map than to find the way based on textual description. So this example clearly shows that using models, it's just easier because you have less information to understand, to process in your mind. So yeah, that means that model have lower cognitive load. And second example which I want to show, it's this example. Yeah. So here on the right side, you have quite a simple class diagram. It's quite a simple class diagram for some reality, I would say, of some retail. Maybe it's about some shop. And you have just few classes there. It's not a big diagram, in my opinion. And on the left side, you have pretty the same information described in a textual manner. You have points here. So it's not, I would say, the worst case. Worst case would be that we will have the plain text without any points. And probably, I hope that you will agree with me that this version on the right side, it's a bit easier to understand and to find the information quickly than the version on the left side. I'm not sure if everybody will agree with me, but I hope that most of you will agree. So for me, for example, finding how many orders client can place or how many items an order can contain, it's more easier to find it on this diagram than on this text. And to be honest, if I would receive such text, the first thing which I would do would be to create a model. And then I will see clearly if this is consistent, if this is clear, and if there are maybe some errors or not. Here on such model, I can find any issues, any errors, any questions which I want to ask quite quickly. Here I would need to read it many times, or just first to create a model, and then I would say that I'm ready for the further discussion. Okay, and if we agree already, hopefully, that model has some benefits, the next question would be which models can be used? Which models do I use? Of course, there are plenty of options. We have a lot of different notations. We have notations like BPMN for processes, for business processes. We have, of course, UML. We have SysML. In UML, we have plenty of diagrams. I'm not sure how many, but I think there are at least 14 in the last version. So the question is which models to use. Based on my experience, I can share it from my perspective. And for me, this combination works pretty well. So first, of course, I use use case diagrams in UML. I use it to determine the scope of the system. So first, if we plan some new system, some new module of the system, I use it just to agree with stakeholders who will use this system, what will be in general the functionality, and of course, which type of actor, so usually the user, will have access to which functionality. So such high-level discussion, agreeing the scope, works well with this type of model. You can create this together with stakeholders, and of course, you can create it maybe not together with them necessarily, but it's good to finally confirm, to agree this, and model can really help a lot. Then I also work with class diagrams. Class diagrams can be, of course, replaced by ERD diagrams, and as I said, you said, yeah, that you work with ERD diagrams. So I think that's pretty much similar concept. And I use class diagrams on two levels. First of all, I use this on conceptual level. So I create conceptual model just to organize, well understand, and confirm the information which I received from different sources. So this conceptual model, I would say that it's mostly for me. I prepare this just to structure my knowledge, to confirm my knowledge, and before I have a glossary created or just received from somebody, and before I have this conceptual model, I don't feel, let's say, competent enough to talk to stakeholders, to elicit requirements. So the two first artifacts, which I think are quite mandatory, are, of course, glossary and this conceptual model, and only if I have these artifacts, I feel confident enough to then continue my discussions with stakeholders. And later, I use also class diagrams to create logical models, so to establish and communicate the structure of a domain and then communicate this to development team. So this logical model is used mostly with the communication, not with business stakeholders, but rather with technical stakeholders. Also, I'm a big fan of process diagrams. So usually systems, applications, different things are somehow related with processes. Of course, not all of them, but I would say that in most of cases, there is some process which is supported, implemented, and so on. So for me, the best notation which works to support documenting processes is, of course, BPMN. So I use it a lot on different level of abstraction, on different level of details. Then next diagram which I use quite frequently is state machine diagram, because in many applications a lot of logic based on the state of different entity. So in applications there are usually a lot of different entities, a lot of different business objects, I would say, and the logic what's going on in the application very frequently based on the state of different object. So it means that you need to provide information what is the logic of these statuses, and you can achieve this goal, of course, by using this state machine diagram. And also there is quite, maybe not, okay, it's the less frequently used diagram by me, but still is quite useful. So if I need to document some interaction between multiple components, like multiple different systems or multiple different also actors like users and other things, I use sequence diagrams to do it. So these 5 diagrams, I think it's the most frequently used set in different projects. Of course, not in every project I use all of them, but I think that at least 2 or 3 diagrams from this list I use in, I would say, nearly every project. Okay, yeah, so I think my time is slowly ending, yeah? Okay, I would also add some maybe more information about the notation, but okay, let's stick to the plan. So I just want to leave you at the end with some quotes which I really appreciate, and I think you also will agree with them. So first is from Alan M. Davis, and it says, and he said that if you can't describe what you want as model, you don't yet understand the problem. And I can agree with this, yeah. So because if you have clear vision, if you have clear requirements, you should be able to model it. If you're not able, it means that your knowledge is not full, and maybe you should spend more time to rethink this, to find more details. And then, if you will be able to create the model, probably you will be also probably then the team will be also able to create the system based on this. And the second quote is from Tom DeMarco. The act of modeling is not just documenting what you know. It's a process of discovering what you don't. And yeah, as I said before, by modeling you can find any gaps, any omissions, any simplifications, any contradictions. So not just a model is a value, also the activity of modeling is maybe even a greater value. Yeah, so that would be all from my side. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Radek, for such inspiring speech. And now we'll ask you to stay just for several minutes, just to open our Q&A session. No, just maybe we have already some questions from our offline audience, because we have some from our online audience. Guys, do you want to ask something from Radek? Yeah, please.
Could you tell from your experience how you actually check this common understanding of stakeholders in the end of workshops or other meetings? Is there any, I don't know,
okay,
so practical advice?
As I said, the model is a great tool to achieve this, because I ask sometimes stakeholders, first of all, if they agree with the model, yeah? So this is a very simple way. Of course, I sometimes provoke the question, so I ask them to paraphrase the model, so to check if they understand it. And what else? Also, yeah, so I think that the modeling is the first main tool, and also asking to rephrase something Also trying to rephrase by my own words and asking for confirmation and for correction, it works quite well. So I think, yeah, the confirming the model, discussing the model, and paraphrasing what I understand and asking for confirmation, that's the most common and most effective way.
Yeah, I guess one of the most crucial talents of business analysts are to ask questions correctly, right? Any more questions, audience? Yeah? Oh, 2 ones, please.
Did you find recently any like fancy AI tool that you use for modeling that helps you a lot, or you stick to old-fashioned manual modeling by yourself?
So I tested a lot of tools. The probably most popular one would be ChatGPT, and to be honest, so far I have not the best experience with this. I'm a big fan of functionality which are available in some tools, like for example, Common the Model or Subsignavio, which is used to validate the model. This is, I would say, it's not AI; it's just strict rules used to validate. So it's such validating rules, simulating options to simulate the model. This is things which I used quite frequently, and I really appreciate this. Using, let's say, pure AI, it's something with which I have not the best experience, and I don't think, maybe I'm of course missing something, but I don't think there is a tool which can just fully automate the process of modeling so far.
Okay, thank you.
You will find answers to this question in the second part of the.
Oh,
Okay.
great.
So
Look
maybe
forward,
I'm
Emil. One more question from the audience, right?
Yeah.
Who will it first? Yeah. Here you are.
All right. All right. You mentioned you do the modeling first, and then you proceed to do the documentation because it's easier for you. Wouldn't it be convenient to do the other way around? Summarize the user stories, if I can say so, the requirements, and then make the modeling after the documentation.
So I consider the model as a part of documentation. So I not distinguish between documentation and the models. For me, the documentation based partially on models. So documentation which I create consists of different things. Yeah, basically I distinguish between documentation just used for, let's say, communication and used for basically, I would say, current implementation, like user stories. And also I try to create documentation which is used to then maintain and develop the system. So especially this documentation for longer term use, which is used to document the system and maintain the knowledge, in my opinion, should based on the models, because models have these benefits which I mentioned. So it's clear, it's easier to keep consistent and so on. So for me, first, to understand the high level, to understand the scope, to understand the basic structure. So to understand the high-level needs, to clarify this with stakeholders, to also clarify this with especially developers, models works very well. But to coordinate the work, to elicit requirements, to discuss them, to communicate them, user stories are the great tool. So to answer your question, I work in this way that I try to create high-level models just to create high-level common understanding. Then, of course, we with our developers. So I think we base the current communication, current development on user stories as a quite good tool to communicate and to deliver requirements. And also, together with the system, we create documentation which is used to document the system, which is used then to maintain the knowledge. And this documentation consists, of course, models, and if necessarily, if it makes some benefits, of course, it's supported with rather short but also textual descriptions.
Thank you.
Any more questions in the audience? Yeah. Okay, here you are.
Okay, so far we've discussed what's in the diagrams. How do we find what's not inside the model? So what is missing? Which of the requirements were not talked through? I wanted to ask you, how do you find the missing part of the process?
Okay. Difficult question and long topic, I would say, but I will try to answer. So I try to create different models. Each model focus on some perspective. Yeah. So, for example, if you create use case diagram and you compare it to, for example, process models, you can find some discrepancies. That, for example, to achieve some use case, there is some missing part in the process, or vice versa. Yeah? Or you create class diagram and you create process diagrams. You can find that to make some process, there is some data, some object missing on the class diagram, or vice versa. So I think that to answer it very quickly, the good idea is to create different models which provide different perspectives, and then compare these perspectives, which can help you to indicate some gaps in the requirements. So I think that would be the first hint which I would give.
Okay. Thank you so much, Radek. We have some more questions in our online audience, but I guess, guys, we will create posts in our LinkedIn channels and let you all ask some more questions, because now we have a little lack of time, but then we will answer all of them. Thank you once again, Radek. I guess you've proved the real value of the modeling for business analysts. It helped all of us just to simplify our responsibilities, right? Whether communicating with the team or with the customers, right? Thank you so much again. And now it's high time to get acquainted with the second speaker that came even from the other country, right? And discuss modeling in practice. Yeah, Emil Abazov, here it is.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Just a second. Yeah,
You did?
that's good. Nice.
Here it is.
Thank you so much.
To switch the slide.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having time here and being here with us. I actually came today in the morning from Baku, Azerbaijan, specifically for this event. And when I was invited, I didn't hesitate, and the distance didn't matter, because I'm very excited about Andersen's Warsaw community and also this topic. So my name is Emil Abazov. Today, I will be talking about turning requirements into action and modeling in practice. We have already discussed with Radek's topic that why modeling is important and what is the necessity of it. I'll be more focusing on real-life examples and practical cases. So just to give a little bit about information about myself, I'll skip the long introduction. My name is Emil Abazov. I'm Senior Business System Analyst and Product Owner with over 6 years of experience in the field. And I have delivered more than 20 global and local projects. And I have worked with multiple different domains in multiple different companies and multiple different teams. So one of the things that I have noticed in my experience is that projects don't usually fail just because of lazy people or bad development team. They fail because people think they understand each other while they actually don't. That's why we are actually here today to discuss what is the problem and what happens and why. So for the video, I think I need to click, I guess. Okay. Maybe Nadina needs to help me with this for the video. So while we are taking care of it, so have you ever had a project where you delivered exactly what client wanted, but still it was wrong? Yes, we have some hands. Thank you. I hope not. You didn't have such experience, but I had. I was working 3 years ago for the biggest software project of my country, which was automation of taxes information system for Ministry of Taxes of Azerbaijan Republic. And this project, specifically my role, was to work on a module which was about automating the workflow and confirmations. And there are a lot of people who need to basically confirm and approve the documentation and etc. Because it's a very specific domain. It's a government domain, it's a taxes, and there is one mistake can make you end up in jail, something like that. And when I was basically describing the flow, describing the requirements, I didn't use any modeling. It was pure written requirements, everything was, we were working with waterfall methodology, and everything had to be approved by multiple different stakeholders. We had multiple different meetings, workshops where we discussed everything. But unfortunately, and even though documentation was perfectly written, approved by multiple people, we find out later during the implementation that some of the critical cases were not actually discussed and discovered at all. But somehow, when stakeholders read it, they didn't see it. I assume they read it, but they didn't see it. So the problem was that I described everything in written format, but I didn't use any models. I didn't describe anything in diagrams, basically. And this cost us 4 weeks of rework, and at the same time, approximately $15,000 to $20,000 of rework in man hours, and additional clarifications, meetings with stakeholders and with multiple different people, which I really hate. And while I had this bad experience, what I've learned is that even though your documentation, your story, or whatever your artifact you are preparing is perfectly described, if you haven't modeled it in a great way, people tend to understand it differently. And that's why I had a lesson learned that one picture can be equal to 1,000 words, which can be actually implemented in 10,000 lines of code. That's the practice and theory that I'm using on my daily life as well as a business analyst. And also, I would like to give you one study from real study, PMI's Pulse of Profession. They have done a study on why projects usually fail. And they found very interesting numbers that 47% of the projects fail due to the inaccurate requirements management, and 51% of project budget is wasted due to pure requirements, which means actually half of our project's budget can be wasted just because people didn't align on the things they had to align, and people didn't understand each other, but they thought they do. So one of the lessons that I've learned so far is that modeling is the cheapest insurance you will ever buy. Radek already talked about the fact that modeling is also guarantee for the creator himself or herself, not only for the people you are collaborating with. I will kind of back it up with the quote that modeling is the cheapest insurance you would ever buy. Also, I would like to give you a cheat code that I'm using. You can take a picture and use it in your daily life as well as a business analyst. These are the cheat code that I'm using on my daily routine as a business analyst whenever I'm coming with a situation, with a practical case that I need to use. So we understand the necessity of requirements modeling. We understand why we need it and what would happen if we don't properly model the requirements. But there are a lot of different diagrams and there are a lot of use cases. So the question is, when I need to use which diagram? So the big question that we need to basically understand is what diagram would best show the requirement that I'm trying to describe. So here is the cheat code that I'm using. There are a lot of recommended, these are recommended tools from my side specifically. There are a lot of more tools that you can find and new tools maybe also. I will also give you the AI tools that you can use in my next slide, but these are the tools that you can use. So when it comes to, for example, clarifying the business processes and trying to capture the big picture, I use BPMN diagram, and for that reason, I'm using Camunda Modeler usually. When it comes to showing how data are integrating and connecting with each other, I'm using either ER or class diagram, and for that reason, I am using usually Lucidchart or ERD+. When it comes to how states of one flow can change in different times, I'm using state machine diagram, which has a lot of different tools, but I'm preferring to use visual paradigm or plant UML. When it comes to defining who is interacting with the system, simply I would try to keep it simple. I use it usually use case diagram, and for that either Lucidchart or Draw.io would help. Illustrating the system boundaries, I usually define it with context diagram, and again use either Draw.io or Lucidchart. and showing the interactions with different entities over time, especially when it comes to development team, showing how integration happens, how multiple entities are integrating with each other over a certain period of time. I use sequence diagram, and for sequence diagram, sequencediagram.org is, in my opinion, one of the greatest tools that you can use. So now I will try to talk about, actually I had a video here as well that I recorded. I may maybe show it from different side or my computer, I don't know. But I will try to keep it, explain you at least. So there are two ways of requirements modeling. One way is that I would say traditional way, where you are basically discussing the requirement with the stakeholders, with a PO, with a team, whoever like a source of the requirement is. You take notes, you maybe you draw something, or you are like basically taking notes. I used to do it while when I was starting my career, basically taking notes on paper, because I believe like handwriting is also giving you some sort of like additional memory. But there is one study that says usually 50% of your knowledge is fading away within 1 hour of the discussion that you have made. It was study done by German psychologists among university students, and they found out that after 1 hour, 50% of the things that they have learned is basically getting out of their memory. So the traditional way is basically you take the notes, you draw some diagram, you validate it later with additional meeting with people that you need to validate with, and then from there you go on. Second way, which I am practicing a lot, is requirement modeling in real time. So it means you are you are modeling the requirements while you are having this discussion, while you are eliciting the requirements. So this is one way of doing that, which I will give you a real example. So let's say you are at the meeting with your PO discussing this requirement specifically. When customer cancels their order, they need to automatically get a refund. So that's simple requirement, which we can see everywhere basically in an e-commerce market. It sounds simple. So while you are discussing it, you basically try to ask the questions to elicitate more and find answers. That's the first step. Ask questions to elicitate more and find the hidden requirements. So basically, specifically about this flow. So what is the payment type? Was it paid by cash, credit card, or it was like credit, store credit, right? Second question is who gets notified at what stage? Third question could be how refund happens. Is it automatic really, or above certain limit, some finance department, for example, needs to approve it, etc., etc. So you find the hidden requirements, and then you define who is doing what under which condition. After finding out that, you need to define the conditions and edge cases. So what conditions could be consider it while we are preparing this model. 4 is selecting the diagram based on the need. So this is one of the most important part as well, which diagram would show this requirement in a best efficient way. And 5 is preparing the AI prompt to feed AI tools that I will show in a second. And after you basically give the prompt, AI prepares you a diagram that you can see and edit. There are some free tools, there are some paid tools as well. And while you are discussing it basically with your source of truth, you are having a model in front of you. And while you are discussing, you can basically share your screen, or in a meeting room, you can just show what this diagram looks like, and you can go through this diagram and refine it together. I had this experience with one of the biggest insurance companies in the world, where I was in this project as a business analyst. Basically, we had one diagram that we used for 2 weeks as source of truth. There was no documentation, nothing. Our product was being released to Italian market. It was B2B2C model, which involved multiple different entities, multiple different groups. And While we were implementing it, each team had their different way of seeing it. Marketing team saw it differently, operations and development team saw it differently. So at the end of the day, the decision was, okay, let's come all together and let's model how we see it. After 2 hours of whole discussion, we come up with a model, and for the 2 weeks, this became our source of truth. And after it's approved, we started to basically implement it. I actually had a video here as well. Could you find it? Or?
Yeah, we have some issues regarding this issue.
Okay, maybe at the end of the call, I can show it from my own computer, because I recorded this myself, and it is basically, I show there under 1 minute how you can model the requirement in real time. Okay.
Oh, here it is.
Let's see if I can open it.
Yeah. Just click on it and it should open.
It doesn't, for some reason.
Yeah, it's not gonna open.
Yeah, it's fine. I will show a bit at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, let's do like this. The system doesn't work.
Okay, maybe you can bring my computer later. Okay, let's go to presentation mode.
Let me open. Okay. F5, right.
Also, I'd like to mention that even though I use AI, can we go to the next slide?
I can just try to guess. There is a warning, this yellow line at the top. Maybe if you click enable editing,
Yeah,
maybe you will
let's
be
do like
able
this.
to-
Give me a chance.
Wow.
Another.
We will see. We are seeing it again. Just to memorize it. So part of the our goal. Yeah, it was planned. So here are the AI tools that I have been using so far, and there are a lot of them, but also you can take a picture and like use in your day-to-day life. So first one that I have been using for different, each of them have different purposes, but I'll give you just some of them. Miro AI, it's great when it comes to collaborative meetings and workshops. So while you are in a workshop, you can use Miro AI to generate more ideas, to discuss some of the requirements, and it will basically give you elaboration of that requirement. Second, that I am using actually on the video as well, that I will trying to show, is called Eraser, which is actually called Diagram GPT. So it's basically ChatGPT of diagramming, where you can get precise BPMN. It's very technical. It's great for when it comes to development team interaction. So you can prepare it and just open your screen and discuss it with developers. It gives you identical BPMN, basically. It can get wrong sometimes, but usually it works great. But at the same time, it asks you follow-up questions just to clarify if that tool understands your requirement very well. But you need to give specific prompt, and for preparing the prompt, you can use any other AI tool like ChatGPT, Gemini, or etc. Lucidchart also has AI feature, which is basically good for professional documentation and enterprise level diagrams. But one problem is that no BPMN logic or validation, so it doesn't follow the standard BPMN logic. And one of them that I have used not often, but sometimes, is that add row max AI, which is also good for detailed BPMN and UML and architecture diagrams, but it has limited support. So if you have taken the picture, I will move on. So I will just here show you one example of written and drawn requirement. This is all done by me. I have like written one requirement and drawn one requirement for loan request workflow. So above is the one when you write it. It looks messy, long, too wordy, and it takes a lot of time. At least for me, I don't really want to read something like that. And it takes a lot of time for us to understand it in general. We don't need to use it as a source of truth as well. But when you draw it, you can simply see the difference. It's the same requirement, same logic, nothing has changed, but you can see who is doing what and under which condition in several seconds, maybe for some people, several minutes. Last, if we have the, like, after this workshop, some final takeaways that I would like you to take is that don't write more, model more, involve as much as people as you can while validating your requirements. Model as early as possible, not after chaos, which I have done and costed me a lot. And use AI as accelerator, not as replacement. So at the end of my speech, I would like to say that let's build clarity, not confusion. And I'd like to thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you. And if everyone is okay, I can show the video also.
Yeah. Yeah,
But I
please.
think need my computer, just a second.
For sure.
Because yeah, I need to prove my point.
Okay, let's give one moment for Emil. He's running already.
Okay. I think this one is right.
Yes.
HDMI. So this is the tool that I have been talking about. It's called Eraser, and it's diagram GPT. Okay. Sorry for technical issues.
Yeah, just our administrators got sick. We need to come up with this all together.
Yeah.
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 But there are a lot of small details on the presentation, on the video, right?
Yeah, it's only
So we can't view
45
it.
seconds.
Okay, we can view it on the laptop, right? Yeah,
Really?
I guess yes.
It's so small, but
Device
let's
manager.
click. How do we
I guess
click?
yeah. It's, we can't set up. It's like manually, I guess. Yeah.
We need to set up, etc.
Yeah, it's
Anyway.
on your mouse, right?
No.
But
Yeah.
the issue is that it's not my laptop as well. That's why.
Okay, I will just show like this. Maybe.
But
that-
guys,
So-
attention!
So here I'm trying to.
Let's give Emil a chance.
I am basically, this is the tool. I am adding prompt here. If you can see, I don't know. So I'm adding the prompt, and while I add it and click generate, in few seconds, you will see a diagram building up. I don't know if you can see or not. You can. And on the right side, you can see the code of this diagram. So it's a great tool. It's fast. It gives you a lot of necessary, I would say, time that you need. It's called Eraser. It was also in the slide. Second one that you could see. Yeah, that's all. Sorry for
Thank you
this
so much,
technical
Emil.
issues. Thank you.
Thank you for, one more time for showing the video as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, I guess it's time to move into Q&A session. I guess, from the practical sides, some of us have some questions, right? Yeah, please. Just a moment. I'm running. Just a second.
Thanks. So my question is, when you told about the tools that you use, mainly you use online tools, right? And even the AI tools. Wasn't there any security concerns that you are using online and AI tools on the projects that you use? And the second question is, why do you use online tools like Lucidchart if you use, as you said, Visual Paradigma, which is advanced case tool?
Okay, thank you so much for the questions. Let's answer the first one regarding security. Yeah. So when it comes to that, I try to use AI or drawing like web tools just to model the requirements. Yes. When it comes to approval of this requirement, of course, I try to edit as much as possible. So I'm trying to give the basic fundamental knowledge to AI to draw the model. I'm not sharing the sensitive company or any information that could risk like NDA or any other security. So I am basically describing flow or something that is specific to the requirement, not sensitive information. Answering the second part of the question, when it comes to different diagrams, the tools that you have seen is just my recommendation. If, for example, let's say you have one platform where you are preparing the documentation, let's say Confluence. Confluence has plugins for Draw.io, right? So if you are using, for example, documentation for creation of documentation, you are using, let's say, Confluence. In this case, I would use, for example, Draw.io just to have like built-in diagram inside my Confluence document, and I can real-time edit it. So I don't need to go to save it and click to come back and add it as a new diagram. I can basically do it inside the Confluence itself. But when it comes to Lucidchart or Plant.uml, I basically use either of them, not both of them at the same time. If I use Lucidchart, for example, I prepare it, save it, and add it inside my documentation or whatever that I'm creating, a user story, anything else. So I don't use them at the same time. They are just tools that I have been using for different purposes, let's say. Yeah. I just didn't want to give only one tool to limit the audience, but I use either of them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Radek was the first, so sorry.
Okay, so you just shown the presentation that to create a diagram in some AI tool, you need to first prepare quite detailed prompt. So if you compare the amount of time and the effort to create the prompt, to of course put it to the tool, and then probably you need to make some alterations sometime. So if you compare the effort doing this in this way and start and building something from scratch in quite convenient tool like Camunda Modeler, how would you compare it? Is it really much easier?
Actually, it is. I have experience with both. So for creating the prompt, actually, while we are discussing the requirements, I'm already taking the notes, right? And I'm asking AI just to create specific prompt to be added to a specific tool. For example, let's say create a prompt for this scenario that I have already prepared. I just copy and paste it, or create a prompt for Eraser to prepare me a BPMN diagram. So I just copy and paste the prompt that is already created by another AI tool. So I don't write it myself. If I write it myself, it will take more time and more dedication than, and it wouldn't really make sense. So I use, in this case, two different AI tools to make live requirement model.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. One more question, Valentin. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for showing out the magic. That's really impressive.
Thanks.
But the first question that came to my mind after watching this presentation was, is it not devalue the value of a business analyst on a project? If you would show the client that you can do this magic like for a few seconds, then they would require it from you more responsibilities and so on. So they would think that it's much easier. But manually, people can do like very complicated diagrams up to a few days. It can take up to a few weeks with approvals.
Yes, a great question. Right sense. I would say, as I mentioned before, I don't use like AI solely for diagram creation. It is only for showing, kind of like a presenting if I understand you very well and if we are on the same page. So while we are discussing the requirement with you, for example, I can create simple diagram. I can take like paper and draw it myself, or in Draw.io or simple tools. It will take a little bit more time than an effort than creating it using some AI tool. And at the same time, while I am basically showing, okay, this is the model that I have been thinking about, do I understand you correctly? If it is yes, I take it and work on it separately. So I use only quick diagramming just to understand if the requirements are modeled in a correct way and if we are on the same page. But I don't use it as a source of truth or present it to the customer to approve it. That's why I think still I am the one who is validating it, and I'm the one who is preparing it, and also I am the one who is analyzing to get deeper to this requirement, to understand these edge cases, hidden requirements, etc., etc. So AI only helps basically with the footwork, so drawing it faster than I do. That's all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I can see one more question from the audience.
Do you have prepared the separate diagram for client and for developers, for example, with different sources?
Yes, yeah, great question as well. So I have such experience in my previous project, basically where we had this big feature coming up where we discussed it with multiple different line of business. And I prepared them a BPMN diagram, not too technical, just to give them the idea of how the flow would look like. So where customer basically starts the flow and where it ends. It was understandable for everyone. But when it comes to technical implementation, I prepare sequence diagram for the development team specifically to show how different entities will be integrating with each other and how our microservices will be basically sending request, response, what time, under what condition, and who is doing what. So two different diagrams describing almost the big same flow, but one was just for line of business, non-technical, one for very technical, considering our development team. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Any more questions in the audience? Okay, here you are.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for such a charismatic presentation.
Thank you.
We were seeing kind of all these benefits and the advantages of using the AI tools. Yeah. What the disadvantages? What would you, at least this, the first that came to you? Because based on my personal experience, for example, I'm seeing that kind of in my daily life, that more I rely on the AI tools, more I'm kind of intent to overlook for some kind of little details of, I don't know, for the requirement structure, how they are structured. For example, kind of the year ago, I would structure them in a more organic, more kind of human-like way, and now I can kind of misstruct them in comparison to myself kind of a year ago. And so, yeah, okay. There is kind of no doubts. Yeah, it helps us a lot to kind of boost our work. But what are the disadvantages that you see?
Great question. First of all, the only advantage I'm getting out of AI is time saving. So it's when you are in a meeting with someone, you are basically doing simultaneous work, listening to somebody, processing idea, and processed idea is turning into some model. So when we, for example, say business analyst is a bridge between stakeholders and development team, I disagree with this idea, because bridge means connecting something like two locations without any processing.
Sorry, you disagree with what idea?
Business analyst is a bridge between stakeholder and development team.
Mhm.
My definition is business analyst is a translator between these two sides. When it comes to, because we are processing what we get, and processed idea or requirement turns into deliverable. So bridge doesn't do anything between these two locations, it just connects. But we are business analysts validating plus processing this requirement. When it comes to specifically this question, so disadvantage of AI is it doesn't validate anything. It takes everything you have written, turns it into a format that it understands in a best way. So I have used, for example, other tools before, and they didn't give me what I want at all. And I spent more time refining my prompt than preparing the diagram itself. Secondly, it is not source of truth. It cannot be used as a source of truth. You still need to work on this diagram yourself. Third, disadvantage is sometimes it creates more confusion than reality. If the requirement is not as specific as possible, and if you are telling like AI just to create a diagram, it will select the best diagram it thinks is the best for this case. But if your prompt is as specific as possible, it can save you a lot of time. But still, you are business analyst is the one who needs to still work on it and validate it. So these are the disadvantages that I see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And okay, one more question, second one. Isn't that making your legs flexible, relying on any kind of frameworks? For example, that one you showed us before.
Flexible?
Yeah.
What do you mean exactly?
Less agile, kind of. As an professional, as an analyst, kind of having this list of approaches and kind of quick solutions to any situations as you think as an analyst can mislead you often, and kind of by giving you these tips you can.
I think it also comes from experience. I had such situations before where I basically came up with specific solution, but then I thought, okay, my solution could be actually elaborated a little bit even more if I think about it even more. So after having experience with different projects, different requirements, some sort of solutions get standardized. So basically, we are not discovering new America. We are basically using some already built solutions, specified and tailored for our requirements. So in my opinion, it gets to a point sometimes where you are basically using the same framework for over a time, and it doesn't make you agile, as you said. But I don't see it as like a very big critical issue in my day-to-day life, and I don't experience it so often these days. That's why not sure like if I am the right person to answer this question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Emil. I guess business analyst isn't the bridge, it's the heart of the communication system, right? So once again, we have some questions from online audience, but we will ask them on our post because we once again have not so much time. Yeah.
Okay.
And these parts, I want to thank you, all of them, just being part of today's meetup. Now it's the part to a little say thank you for our speakers. Radosław, can you please go ahead? Yeah, and give you some presents. Because, yeah, because of our speech and practice and expertise.
Thank
It
you
will
so
really
much.
help us, yeah, to maybe simplify some responsibilities, some activities, working as business analysts. Yeah, say thank you to our speakers. Yeah, guys, thank you so much. And now I can see you're a little sleepy, yeah, after just during all this time, yeah. And it's time to a little play some games, yeah. And let's get acquainted one more time with our analyst, business analyst from Andersen, Natalia Tarasevich, yeah. And he will like help us to play these interactive games, yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalia. I'm a business analyst, and I'm really fond of networking. I think that this is one of the most important things in such meetups. So I would like us to meet better. So for that, I propose to play some games. So please stand up and go on the back end of this beautiful place. Please come up here.
Now I
stay
guess
in
it's
the
time
circle.
to say goodbye to our online
And
audience.
before we
Thank
move
you so
on,
much, guys.
we need
being
to
with us
agree
for
on
today.
some rules.
Now we
like
will like
some
play
small
the
rules.
networking world
Uh,
parts
a lot
offline,
of people,
but we
a
will
lot
be
of
glad
people
to
will
see you
be
one more
talking,
time. Thank you so
so
much and
it
bye.
gets
See you.
loudy and messy. So